All right, got my fast food headset on. All right, guys. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the aftermarket recap. Sorry, it's been a heck of a day. In a good way, not a bad way. Good afternoon. Welcome aboard to the aftermarket recap. Gotta try this again. It is 5:02 Eastern Standard Time. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of G.A.R Capital. Thanks again for joining me today and every afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we go over the markets, answer your questions, and the things you need to know as an investor and a trader. Let's rock. Dow Jones closed up 191 points. Nasdaq up 1.5% today. S&P up nearly 1%. The VIX fell to down 3.67%. Equal weight S&P up 1.15%. Taking a look at QQQ up 1.4%. IWM up 1.8%. That's Russell. Small caps dollar index came up slightly, about a quarter point. Yields continue to fall. Let's do this. Let's make life easy. Every single one from now on, we'll put a chart on every single thing we talk about. We'll start with the Dow. Dow Jones, right? Dow Jones Industrial Average. How about that little break above that downward channel? Good sign for the Dow. Take a look at Nasdaq. Nasdaq was up 1.5% today. That needs a little more to go, but very nice price action. We'll go to the hourly on the Nasdaq futures. And you could see that we did fill that gap right there, 12,032. Do we have a little more in the cards? I say yes, 12,130. Taking a look at the VIX. The VIX broke this uptrend down here, tested 2837 is where we are, heading to key support of 2802. If that does break down, we're going to have more upside on the S&P. TLT, bonds still hovering on that 1, 2, 3 triple top. We should break higher on TLT and bonds. You could see high yield credit gain today. Investment grade credit came up today. Very nice to see. Crude oil gained today as well. Very slightly, marginally, after crude oil inventories today, 0.88%. Again, kind of stable, staying around that 110 area. Taking a look at gasoline, we talked about this morning. Gasoline and oil, again, kind of just holding pat there. Not much going on, but energy stocks continue to go higher. Let's take a look at gold. Gold, not much going on. We had a nice pop on the 24th and then came back down. That's gold futures. I do have silver futures as well. It's just choppy range. We do have a gap to fill on silver. Where is that gap? If I can find it. I think it's on the weekly. Oh, you know what? It's SLV. Let's take a look at silver. Silver is the one we want to see. It's based on, you have here this gap fill at 2040. That's the level we're looking at. We also have another gap to fill higher right here at 2075. Let's see if we can continue higher post FOMC. Bitcoin futures, whole lot of nothing. Been kind of stuck between 31,200 and around 28. That's all we've been getting. But again, the spikes have shown a kind of a leadership for the S&P, kind of a leading indicator, if you must say. Some of the biggest winners today. How about GameStop today? Right there, filled this gap right here at 114.38. 116.87 is your Fibonacci extension level based on the weekly. Again, we're retesting that 100-day moving average on GME. GME is up 30% today. What a day. Let's go to the S&P. This morning or this afternoon. We talked about this on the video. I said that we would get to around 39.85, possibly close there. We were close, 39.80, 5 points away. You can blame me for that. We got as close to 4,000. That was really my target, was 4,000. We got to 3,997. That close. But again, good price action. We filled this gap like we talked about. So again, if you're a morning note viewer, you were not surprised by this price action. I contend that we continue higher to around 40, 43 by the end of the week. The only thing that makes me a little nervous is the fact that volume will dry up starting tomorrow, Friday being the last day or the last session before Memorial Day weekend being on Monday. So again, don't expect tons of fireworks at that time. So trade smartly, trade correctly. 4,000. Let's see if we get that overnight. Nvidia did report today, before anyone asks, because I already know. Nvidia reported earnings Adjusted EPS, $1.36, estimate of $1.30. Q1 revenue, 8.29 billion versus 8.1 billion. That beat. Q2 revenue, their guidance was softer than expected. 8.1 billion, estimated was 8.44 billion. So it expects revenue to be below estimates. So that's why Nvidia is taking a little bit of a hit here. If you click here, see here, I don't know if they have, why does it have that? The CNBC thing. Show news, you can do that on TOS, and this all comes up here. Nvidia shares on weak guidance. We'll allow TOS to give us that. It also comes with a CNBC video as well, talking about Nvidia. As an Nvidia shareholder, again, it's not about the news, it's all about the reaction, as we know. And right now, with a low liquidity already backdrop, looks like we did break the 52-week lows of the stock. Now, is it a buy here? I need to see PE multiples reset based on their revenue and their profitability. So tomorrow I will know where our PE ratio stands based on this guidance we just got. Key levels to watch for. Take a look at the weekly on Nvidia. Right here we have, I think that's a gap fill in the daily, I might be wrong. Is it? Yeah, there's a gap to fill right at 146.89. That's a really good level to look, start probably asking to buy more after this drop. I still want 37.50, but man, do I love me some Nvidia. They are profitable. 111.73 is your 200-day moving average on the weekly. That's a tall order to get there, but 147 ain't bad. I might just want to add some more there on Nvidia because it's such a great company. But again, guidance wasn't the best. As we know, they miss estimates, but again, still profitable. The problem is that, are they just too expensive in this market? Forward PE, again, nothing has updated in terms of price to earnings multiple. It's trading at a 24. Obviously, Nvidia deserving a good premium, but not in this rate environment here. That's where I'm seeing the sell-off or the sell coming out. And granted, after hours, you don't get a ton of liquidity. I mean, if you remember the other day, Zoom was up 20% or 15% after hours, and that dissolved. So I think Nvidia does get some analyst upgrades. There's a nice gap to fill. I don't know if that filled it. Did it? No, it did not. So we'll add a drawing to that. We'll go ahead and start here. We did not fill that gap. We've gotten close before. Remember ES? We got really close. So it does matter. We'll go ahead and extend this out. And you can see if we extend it to the right, that's another gap to fill to the upside around 182. That would be my short-term target on Nvidia if we get to around, if you're trying to trade it, if you get to 147, I definitely want to buy it, and then I'll play that gap fill to 182. You could always do calls, but you could always buy the stock and see if you can get a 40 point pop, $40 pop, which wouldn't be bad of a trade, honestly, if you're looking at that. It might be an interesting play. But I do think that we'll fill that upside gap, maybe not tomorrow or anything like that, but eventually, I think in the coming weeks, Nvidia will definitely get bids. It's such a big part of the S&P, as we know. It's not as big as the FANG names that we know of, but still a very heavy weighted in QQQ and the S&P as well. It's the largest semiconductor by market cap in the S&P, so it definitely matters what they say. You know, take a look at AMD today. AMD right now after hours is down $2, $2 and about 30 cents, 40 cents. So it matters. It matters what these sectors do. It's all about what they're willing to pay. Let's see how futures open up today and go from there. I wouldn't expect tons of stuff towards the tail end of tomorrow, and Friday being the day before a holiday, I don't expect much to happen. So if there's a time to take some time off from the screens, Friday might be the day. I would probably close up some positions that you might be holding up so you don't have to worry. But at the end of the day, that's what I expect. So I'll be here working, of course. Your humble host during the holiday weekend or Friday pre. And then Monday, no market, no morning note, no aftermarket recap. Enjoy your Monday. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. I'll catch you guys tomorrow for the morning note at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Enjoy the Heat Celtics game tonight, Game 5. I believe that's, 8:30, 9 o'clock. I've been watching every game of the series. You know me, I'm a big sports guy. Let's go Rangers, New York Rangers. I was a big Rangers fan when I was a kid. So Mark Messier, 93. Or was it 94, excuse me. So that was, I remember watching that when I was really young. So they're They're doing well. Let's see if anyone can beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. Hockey Town USA is in Tampa Bay. Imagine that. Let's answer a question here. George is asking, why is Google doing so poorly when everything else is up, including Snap, 10%? Good question. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the day performance. Google down 0.08% on a really green day. Apple barely was green today. Snap was taken out nearly by half. So again, a short-term relief rally was in the cards for a little bounce. Google, obviously, you could see kind of hugging downward. The only explanation I can possibly see, but even Facebook was higher, was just the simple fact that he's getting a little rotation out of safe name as Google and going a little speculative on a bounce, on an oversold bounce on Snapchat. I don't know why Snapchat being such a small, not even the biggest social media player out there, why it meant so much to the NASDAQ on that gap. The good news is that we filled it, and we'll continue. I think we continue higher. But Google, I still think is a great company to own. One of the companies I want to really focus on. But again, I can't speak on the mechanics on why it didn't move up higher today. There might have been some headlines regarding the EU and I believe some kind of internet stuff. I'd have to read up on it. That's when I do my reading, is usually at night. So if I get any word on it, Jorge, we'll go from there. Thanks, Carlos. What about GDP question? GDP, what you got regarding GDP, man? Gross domestic product. In what context are you asking about GDP? If you can ask, because I'm not sure. What about GDP question? I'm not sure what he means by GDP. But yeah, Google, really no rhyme or reason, just a flat day. Pretty funny. Just not much going on. Looking at TNX, you could see a downward channel here, right? Again, kind of sticking with it. Again, right in the middle of that. Oh, tomorrow's the GDP. That's right. So again, we'll get some action in the morning. The question is, during the afternoon, do we kind of dry up? And I expect that we do. Again, it's a full day tomorrow. Nothing really, nothing's closing early or anything. It's just as you get closer to a holiday weekend, you just happens with Christmas, Thanksgiving, you name it. Preliminary GDP number for quarter over quarter, the forecast is 1.3% in the negative. Preliminary GDP price index tomorrow, 8% is the forecast, and GDP claims as well. According to the stock market almanac, if you're into numbers like me, Wednesday was supposed to be a bullish day. That's where it says there, Wednesday. You can get this on Amazon. It's a really good book. And then Friday was supposed to be a bullish day, but nothing for Thursday. So at the end, let's see if 4,000 does break. It could break overnight. We almost filled that gap overnight. I'm glad that we didn't because we filled it today. And we were long. So that's good news. But in regards to GDP, yeah, definitely expecting a negative quarter over quarter. I think second quarter already, everyone's assuming that it's going to be a negative quarter anyways. But then the third quarter comes up. So again, I believe this is a flash number or an preliminary GDP number. Yeah, in 2022 February, we had a 7% GDP number. Now we're going to be back to negative GDP. I would expect, at least if all goes well, third quarter should be strong. So I think that's priced in the markets already a negative GDP. I think we had an Atlanta Fed today that lowered their guidance, and the New York Fed as well recently. So I don't think there's anything new to us with inflation hitting and supply chains and a lot of the stuff going on. Second quarter has been absolutely bonkers. We still got one more month to go. So again, June being the last month of the quarter. And remember, we talked about rebalancing. We're seeing it. Maybe the rebalancing hasn't hit yet, but again, a lot of spikes into the close I'm noticing. So again, a lot of spikes in that last hour. Power hour is definitely really reflecting their name. All right, Jorge, thanks again for your question. Hey, man, anytime you have a question, Jorge, please comment on the video. Would love to hear from you guys if you have any questions. I'll try to answer them at the best way I can, in the most simple way I can. I don't want to confuse you guys or even bore you guys with some jargon. I'll try to explain it the best way I can. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Cheers, guys.